Hello and welcome to the Dokapon Library, your one-stop shop for taking so long to make a video on this update that they released an entirely separate update. On April 8th, the Steam version of Dokapon Sword of Fury was updated to version 1.0.4, and on March 28th, the Switch version of Sword of Fury was updated to version 1.0.4. Both of these updates have their own set of patch notes going over unique sets of changes. We'll start with the Steam patch notes first. When playing online matches, the text speed, movement speed, and speed multiplier are now unified according to the host settings and can be adjusted. Basically, instead of being set to their max values for online play, these values will now match the host settings and be applied to everyone in that game. Unlike the previous update, page 34 of the manual wasn't updated to match this new change. But overall, this change allows for more flexibility in settings while playing online. Fixed an issue where, in Pioneer, players could occasionally encounter unconfigured monsters or experience progression blocks during monster encounters. While it doesn't go into detail as to what monsters would appear, it most likely refers to this issue where the crocodiler monster just had the chance to appear as a random encounter in the starting continent. And while it does make for a funny out-of-context screenshot, thankfully this issue has been fixed. There was an issue where progression would halt in the weekly ranking of online mode under certain conditions, which has now been fixed. Fixed an issue where players in the drunk state could become unable to progress while in the casino. From my testing, the drunk player would not progress when reaching the betting screen, resulting in a softlock. And this 1.0.4 update fixes this so that they now progress as intended. There was a bug in Chapter 10 where the game would become unresponsive under specific conditions, which has now been fixed. Fixed an issue where voice lines would not play correctly during certain events. For example, in the previous version, Uber Wealthy Dada would not have any associated voice line when he appears, where he did have one in the original release. This 1.0.4 update fixes this so that his voice line now plays properly. Take a listen.
Hello there, Commoner!
And finally, various minor issues were fixed. And while that's it for the Steam patch notes, there's also the Switch patch notes to go over. For the Switch update, it mainly focuses on bringing the fixes and additions made in the Steam version of the game over to the Switch version. The highlight change being the addition of the English voice lines to the Switch version. It's interesting that the patch notes focus on just the English voice lines being added, because they also added all the English text. Yes, the Switch version of Sword of Fury now supports full English text and voice lines, just like the Steam version. The game detects the original language the console is set to, and changes the language in-game accordingly. The icon will also change according to the system language, so you can easily tell which language you're about to play in. I don't know why the patch notes don't mention this, but if you wanted to play the Switch version in English, it's now possible on this update. The rest of these patch notes are changes that were already made in previous Steam updates or in this recent Steam update, so I'll go through them quickly. The values for the sound effects, background music, and voice volumes can now be set individually when playing online. So instead of the values being set to 10 for everyone, these values are now set for each individual player. Fixed the issue where using the Y button for battle commands would also cause the fast forward feature to happen. Fixed the issue where settings made on the main menu would not be properly reflected in the actual game. Fixed the issue where unintended monsters would appear on specific spaces in the starting continent Pioneer. And fix the issue where volume options would not reflect their set values in the opening movie and end scenario screens. There is one last change, which seems to be an exclusive fix for the Switch version. Fixed an issue where text on the title screen was displayed incorrectly. This one is a weird change because the issue that was fixed was changing the title screen from saying press start to just saying start. I guess cause there isn't explicitly a start button on Nintendo Switch, but the change feels very superfluous. Regardless, that's it for the patch notes. At this point in time, we are 8 months after the initial release of Dokapon Sword of Fury in Japan, so it's getting to the point where Sword of Fury updates could be coming to an end. But that doesn't mean we're completely in the dark as to what's next for Dokapon. Sting producer Keita Watanabe recently had an interview with the channel Weekend Game Camp where they discussed various details for both Sword of Fury and Dokapon in general. There's a lot of interesting details in this interview, but I want to focus on his closing statements where he mentions that there will be new things to come with Dokapon this year and next year.
なんか最後に、プレイヤーの皆さんになんかメッセージだったりとかっていうのは渡辺さんあったりしますか？
メッセージですか。これからもドカポンシリーズ、今後今年も来年もいろいろ何か新しいのが動くかな。
While there isn't any concrete info to gain from this statement, at the very least, it gives us the promise of new Dokapon things in the future. And I'm looking forward to whatever new Dokapon project Sting has planned. Thank you for joining me on this Dokapon news update, and I'll see you later for some more Dokapon content.